Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the RotoBaller Radio Fantasy Football Preview Series. I'm your host, Anthony Aniano. Happy to be with you here today as we take a look at some tight end ADP draft values and sleepers. Folks, don't forget to win big in 2022 with RotoBaller.com's NFL Premium Pass. If you are ready to dominate, RotoBaller's Premium Draft Kit is there for you. It includes 15 exclusive tools, including the new Team Sync platform. Import your fantasy team, sync your league settings, and get custom advice. Get customized rankings, projections, and cheat sheets for all formats. For a limited time, get your NFL Premium Pass for 50% off. And use my code ACES for an additional 10% discount. Visit rotoballer.com and start rotoballing like a boss. All right, everybody. Don't forget, like and subscribe right here to the RotoBaller YouTube channel. Baseball, football, whatever you're looking for. The RotoBaller Radio crew here at YouTube cover that for you. So make sure you take advantage of that. I have my series out there for football right now. The ADP draft, sleeper values, quarterback, wide receivers, running backs has already been released. Today we talk about tight ends. The season starts. I'll be covering the waiver wire each and every week. Download the app. Get it on your phone. Everything you get at rotoballer.com, you get on the RotoBaller app. So make sure you take advantage of that great service as well. All right, tight ends. Let's talk tight ends here today. Full disclosure, unless it's tight end premium, and even if it's not, I've done a bunch of drafts already this year. I have no real stock in Kelsey. I have no stock in Mark Andrews. Kittle, no stock. I do have a little bit of Darren Waller. He slid in some spots. I guess maybe people devalued him a little bit because of the addition of Devontae Adams. I didn't. I was able to get a little bit of stock in him. I have no Kyle Pitts. I am not a first 5 round tight end guy. First rounds 4 through the first 4 or 5 rounds, I am all about running backs and wide receivers. That's where I am. Now, tight end premium, a little different. I get it. If you get 1.5 points per catch, whatever it may be, first down values, things such as that. Okay, so I look for that, rounds 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe even round 6 tight end, depending upon how the draft flow is going and where I sit in the draft order. So what I have here are some tight ends you can get who I think give you value after that elite group, that Mark Andrews, Kittle, Waller, Kelsey, Pitts type of group. Some people even have Hawkinson on the fringe of that group. So I have some guys after that, and then I have some guys even later who could surprise. Now, as a sounding board, let's just talk about George Kittle first. Okay, George Kittle, current ADP, consensus ADP across multiple sites, is going as tight end 4. Overall pick 39. Has him going, that means in a 12-team league, PPR format, 12-team league, he's going early round 4. Okay? Not where I'm going with the tight end. Okay? That's not going to happen. At that point, I'm taking another running back or wide receiver, like I said. So, Kittle, early round 4, overall pick 39. Last season, he played in 14 games. In those 14 games, he's finished as tight end 4 in a PPR format. He finished with 203 fantasy points. 14.5 points a game. Tremendous number. 94 targets, 71 receptions. Okay, 5.1 receptions a game. 910 yards, 65 yards per game, 6 touchdowns. He averaged 12.8 yards per catch. All terrific numbers. Round 4. So what you're getting in round 4 is 14.5 points per game. Now, what you're also getting is a player who has not played 16 games since 2018. 2019, he played in 14. 2020, he played in 8. Last season, 2021, 14 out of 17. You're also getting a player with a new quarterback, whether that's good or bad. For Kittle, we find out. Trey Lance can do dynamic things on the field, things Jimmy Garoppolo could not do. So the 49er offense will have a little bit of a different look. You still have Deebo Samuel. You have Brandon Ayuk. And you have the running back, Eli Mitchell, the number 1, but a lot of depth behind him. That offense should be good. It all revolves around Trey Lance. 49ers are excited about him. People are drafting Trey Lance as their second quarterback. with upside. Okay. So the question is, are you willing to draft at a position for 14 points per game in round 4 when you could get a wide receiver or running back who could potentially give you more? So now let's look at some other options. Dallas Goedert of the Philadelphia Eagles. Currently going as tight end 8, pick number 77. So that's about 37, 38 picks after George Kittle. He's going as pick number 77. He's going mid-round 6. On average, 605. So you're getting him 2 rounds later. You could get Dallas Goedert in round 6 and start your draft with 5 running back wide receivers in some form, shape, or form, and then Dallas Goedert in round 6. Last season in 15 games, Dallas Goedert finished as tight end 9. 76 targets, 56 receptions, 3.7, rounded to 4 if you'd like, receptions a game. 830 total yards, 4 touchdowns. 55.3 yards per game. So about on average, 1.5 less receptions a game and 10 less yards per game than George Kittle. Now, he didn't have as many touchdowns, only 4. Okay. What he did have, though, is the most yards per catch of any tight end I'm going to talk about today. 14.8 yards per catch. Okay. Finished the season with 165 fantasy points and 11, which works out to be 11 points per game. 2-round value, 3 less points per game than Kittle. Okay. Now, you say, Philadelphia, everybody's excited about Jalen Hurts. Another year, he only threw 16 touchdown passes. Nonetheless, better offense. You still have Devonta Smith. They've added A.J. Brown. The running back room is the same with Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell. Okay. Does Dallas Goedert take a leap forward? I don't think so. I think Dallas Goedert is who he is. Although I want to remind you, last season at the start of the year, Zach Ertz was still in Philadelphia as the tight end 1 on paper. Zach Ertz went to Arizona and had a fantastic year. Zach Ertz kind of falls in that same category, in that same range for me as Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert, for the first time in his career, is the clear tight end 1 in Philadelphia with no Zach Ertz hanging around. Dallas Goedert should have put up 60 receptions, 800 plus yards, with a potential uptick in touchdowns. Let's get him to the 6-7 range. Okay, 2 rounds later than Kittle. Again, I'm not saying he's a better player. What I'm saying is there's value later at the tight end if you are like me and don't want to invest in one of the top 5 tight ends in the first 4 rounds. Up next is Pat Freiermuth of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Second-year player, finished last year as tight end 11. Currently going right now as tight end 11. Finished last year as tight end 13. Drafted overall at pick 111 right now, which is early round 9. 5 rounds after Kittle. 3 rounds after Goddard. Last season he played 16 games, finished as tight end 13. He had more targets last year than Dallas Goedert. He finished with 79 targets. He finished with 60 receptions, more than Goddard, and 11 receptions less than Kittle. Now the problem was, with Pat Freiermuth, with Big Ben at quarterback, is he only averaged 8.3 yards per catch. He only averaged 31 receiving yards per game. He finished with only 497 receiving yards. So the big play number wasn't there. Now he did have 3.8 receptions per game, call it 4 catches a game. 4 catches, 31 yards, not monster numbers. He did finish, however, with 7 touchdowns. He was a red zone option for Ben Roethlisberger. I would think he's a red zone option for Trubisky and Pickett if he ever takes over the job. Okay. The plus side to Pat Freiermuth is there's no real competition for him. He is the clear-cut tight end 1 in Pittsburgh. He finished last year with 151.7 fantasy points, just under 10, call it 9.5 fantasy points per game. And that's now the range you're getting in. You're getting the guy who's a fringe 10-point per game tight end. Where I am comfortable living with a Pat Freiermuth, who I did draft, I believe it's the FSGA draft, as my first tight end in round 9 or round 10, whenever I drafted him. I took my 9.5 points per game as a rookie. Let's call it 10. in the 9th or 10th round, which means I went my first 9 rounds and walked away with 8 running backs, wide receivers, maybe 7 running backs, wide receivers, and a quarterback. Perfectly okay with that. Okay? Chase Claypool is there. Deontay Johnson is there. Najee Harris is there. That offense is very similar, except for the addition now of Trubisky at quarterback with the retirement of Big Ben. Hunter Henry of the New England Patriots. Last season played all 17 games. Finished as tight end 10. Yet, this year he's being drafted as tight end 14. Not even being drafted as a starting tight end in a 12-team league. Pick 139, middle of round 11, 11.07, which doesn't make sense to me. Some people will say, well, Anthony, Hunter Henry's numbers were 2 touchdown dependent. Hunter Henry was a red zone favorite through the air of the Patriots and of Mac Jones when Damian Harris wasn't running it in. What did Damian Harris finish with 15 touchdowns? Ramondre Stevens is still there. We know New England's going to run the ball. However, through the air, Hunter Henry finished with 9 touchdowns. And the truth of the matter is, they haven't really changed that format this offseason. Kendrick Bourne is still there. They've added Devontae Parker. You know who's still going to be Mac Jones' favorite red zone target? It is still going to be Hunter Henry. That has not changed by the moves the Patriots offense has made this year. Okay, Hunter Henry finished with 75 targets, 1 less than Goddard, 4 less than Freiermuth, 50 receptions, 603 receiving yards. He averaged 3 receptions a game, essentially, and 35 yards per game. Without the touchdowns, the numbers are not great. It's about 6.5 fantasy points per game. However, 9 touchdowns last year. Gives him a total of 164.3 fantasy points and 9.7 fantasy points per game. If you're like me, math person, you like to round, 9.7 is a safe 10 points per game at the tight end position, which you are drafting on average right now in round 11. Okay? Again, that means more running backs, more wide receivers, or even you can now get to Hunter Henry as your second tight end if you choose to. If you want 2 tight ends. Now, I don't draft 2 tight ends. If I take if I don't, and I usually don't, but if I have a top tier tight end, I won't have a second one. But now I'm in the conversation now starting in round 11 where I may walk away with 2 of these players. Play matchups. Certain teams do a terrible job defending the tight end. It's not easy. I mean, it's not difficult to find those numbers. Who's terrible at defending the tight end? You play that tight end. Hunter Henry in round 11 as tight end 14, and still, in my opinion, the primary red zone target for Mac Jones. Now a couple of real upside plays and players who are going to be basically freebies depending on how deep your draft goes. Logan Thomas of the Washington Commodores, and I know, he's on the PUP list, coming off the ACL surgery. Okay, Logan Thomas in 2020 had 110 targets. Last season, he played 6 games. 18 catches, 25 targets, 196 yards, 3 touchdowns. Basically 11 yards per catch, 32.7 yards per game. In those 6 games, he averaged 8.9, call it 9 fantasy points per game. Okay, currently going, though, as tight end 23. Overall pick 221. Middle of round 18 if your draft goes that long. Logan Thomas at that point, when he comes off the PUP, is the clear number 1 tight end for the Washington Commandeers, Commies I like to call them. Giant fan. Nonetheless, Logan Thomas as a low-end tight end 2 provides top 12 upside like he was in 2020 with those 110 targets. Carson Wentz is in charge. Terry McLaurin is still there. They drafted a young wide receiver. I get it. Okay, that the running back room is the same. McKissick, Gibson, maybe the rookie Robinson. Logan Thomas will have a role in Washington. He did with Tyler Heineke. Okay, he should continue to have one for the Washington football team. And finally, my ultimate late rounder, and I took him in Scott Fishbowl as my 3rd or 4th tight end, is Mo Alley Cox of the Indianapolis Colts. He is now the starting tight end for the Colts. Jack Doyle is out Other players around them have retired. Matt Ryan is there. Matt Ryan has a long history of throwing to tight ends and making tight ends relevant. Mo Alley Cox is a supreme athlete at the tight end position. He's going as tight end 29. Okay, overall 253. That's round 21, folks. He's a freebie, is Mo Alley Cox. Last season, he played in 17 games and he finished as tight end 26. Yet he's being drafted as tight end 29, and last year he was behind Jack Doyle. He's been, moved up the depth chart, yet devalued in fantasy drafts. Now, 316 yards, 4 touchdowns, 18.6 yards per game. However, he did finish with 13.2 yards per catch, more than Kittle, more than Freiermuth, more than Henry, more than Logan Thomas. Only person on the list who had more yards per catch than him at the tight end position was Dallas Goedert. Matt Ryan, Michael Pittman, Pierce, Campbell, Jonathan Taylor. Colts offense should be better, and Mo Alley Cox is now in a prime position to be the tight end 1. And you are now drafting Mo Alley Cox in a spot where if it doesn't work out, you move on. It's round 21 in a 12-team league. Round 21. For a tremendous athlete, okay, and an offense, and with a quarterback who Matt Ryan that values the tight end. Matt Ryan has always valued the tight end position with whoever he has played with. Just look at the numbers. Okay. Kittle, round 4. Do you invest in the tight end that early? If you do, good for you. If you don't, there's value. Goddard in round 6. Freiermuth in round 9. Henry in round 11. Logan Thomas coming off the knee. Let's see where he is in a month at come kickoff. And then Mo Alley Cox, the freebie, in round 21. All right, everybody. Give me a follow on Twitter at Aniano Fantasy. Like I said at the start, head over to rotoballer.com. Sign up now for that premium pass. 50% off, plus an additional 10% when you use the promo code ACES. Like and subscribe right here to the RotoBaller YouTube channel. Check out all the great ADP draft value and sleeper shows. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and now tight end. Download the app. You know what to do. All right, everybody. Get those drafts set. Enjoy. Have fun with it. It's a fantasy player's Christmas right now, this time of year. All right, we'll see you next time. Have a good one, folks.